Hi, my name is David Buer, Product Manager at Leviton Manufacturing. Today we're talking about the Piccolo Scan console. Effects are sometimes referred to as chases or sequences. What they are is they're a collection of channels that are going to play back in some sort of pattern. Like I say, the most common terminology for them is chase, effect, or sequence. So in this effect, we're going to create an effect of channels 1 through 12, and I'm going to show you a variety of ways to play them back. First, we're going to create the effect. Now, since this is the first effect we're going to create, I'm going to call this effect 1. So we say effect 1 record. That takes us into the effect recording screen. Now, the first thing we need to know is what is this effect going to be made up of? The choice is channels, groups, or cues. Now, I said this was going to be an effect made up of channels 1 through 12, so we're going to enter 0, set it to channels. Right now, we're up in the options bar, or the area above the gray line. I'm going to press the options key to put us down into the step area, or the effect detail area, where it's going to allow us to enter the individual steps. Entering steps in the Piccolo console is really quite easy. All you need to do is enter the number of the first step, then enter the right arrow to advance to the next step. So I'm going to do this repeatedly until I have all 12 channels assigned to this effect. So I've now created 12 steps in this effect, and each step is a channel 1 through 12. Let's play it back. The quickest way to play back an effect is to assign it to a master. I'm going to assign this effect to master 11. To do that, it's the same syntax that we showed you when we were recording submasters, except instead of assigning a group to a master, we're going to assign an effect to a master. So we're going to say effect 1 load over here in master 11. We've now added effect 1 to master 11. To start and stop the effect, you use the button. So we push the button once to start the effect, and you'll notice it's started playing back the effect, and it's just looping through all of the channels. Now, as we've set this up, this master is the rate control. So as I move it up higher, it's going to play back faster. As I move it lower, it's going to play it back slower. It is the basic rate control. So we're going to go ahead and put it up here just above the middle point to play back that effect. Let's say, however, instead of that fader being the rate control, you want it to be the level of the effect. There's two ways to do that. At this point in time, since we've already assigned effect 1 to master 11, I'm going to modify my master assignments by going into the Modify Master screen. To do that, you press the Modify button, then push the Master button. On this screen, you can see my masters 1 through 12 are listed across the screen, and it's showing and allowing me to change what's assigned to all of those masters. I'm going to use the arrow key to move over to master 11. And you'll notice I have an E with a little superscript of R next to that E, indicating that that is an effect with where the slider is the rate control. In the red area, you'll see all of the options for what can be assigned to masters. You'll notice number 7 is effect rate, number 8 is effect level. I'm going to simply change this from effect rate, number 7, to number 8, effect level. I'm going to leave effect number 1 assigned to master 11. We'll hit the exit button, go back to the screen. Now, when we hit the button to start the effect, you'll notice that this fader doesn't control rate, it now controls the level. So we can use the fader attached to the master either as a rate or a level control. So let's run through this one more time. We're going to create effect 2, which is going to be made up of channels 25 through 36. First, I'm going to stop that effect. To start off the recording, I'm going to say effect 2, record. I'm going to enter 0 for channels, push options to go to the step area. And remember, I said this was going to be channels 25 through 36. So I'm going to enter all my steps. So I've now entered steps 25 through 36. Now, I'm going to assign this to master 10. So we say effect 2, load. Now, because I want master 10 also to be a level control, instead of just pushing the master button now, which would assign it at the default assignment of effect rate, you'll see that on the display because it's highlighted in yellow, I'm going to push 8, which will change that to option 8, which is effect level. Then I'm going to push master 10. That's going to immediately assign this effect where the fader is now a level control. And of course, the button is still the start-stop button. So I'm going to push the start button to start the effect, and you'll see that my fader here is level. So I've now got 2 effects, effect 1 assigned to master 11, effect 2 assigned to master 10. So how do I change the rate of these effects? Well, let me show you a neat little trick in the Modify Masters screen. Remember how we got to that? We pressed the Modify button, and then we press the Master button. That's the button labeled FL or MT on the right side, which the MT stands for Masters. So now we're back in this screen. I'm going to arrow over here to Master 12, and I'm going to make Master 12 be the rate control for whatever happens to be assigned to Masters 10 and 11. In this case, it's effect. So to set Master 12 as a rate control, I'm going to arrow over to Master 12 like I've already done, push 9, which is rate. You see that on the menu. Then I'm going to change what it's the rate of. Now, if there is an X in the highlighted field, it means it'll be the rate control for the masters. I don't want it to be, or for the auto faders. I don't want it to be a rate control for the auto faders, so I'm going to set that to 0, which is none. Down below, it's asking me for what the range of masters is that I want this effect, or this rate control to affect. In this case, I only want it to be masters 10 and 11. So I'm going to enter the range of 10 through 11. Of course, you could enter a range 10 through 10, which would only affect master 10, or you could enter 1 through 11, which would allow it to be a rate control for all masters. So I've gone ahead and set that up as a rate control. I'm going to push the exit button, and you'll now notice that I can use this rate control to adjust the playback speed of both effects. So we've created 2 effects. We've assigned them to masters. We've assigned a third master as a rate control for the 2 masters that we assigned the effects to, so that we can adjust the playback rate. Now, remember that I told you there were multiple playback methods for an effect. What we're showing now is we're showing effects that play back from left to right. So they start at the first step, they go to the last step, and then they repeat. Let me show you some other methods. First, I'm going to stop both effects, and I only want my effect 1 to be playing back. So I'm going to start only effect 1, and I'm going to slow it down just a little bit so we can see what's going on. We're going to use the rate control to do that. Now I'm going to edit the options of the effect. So I'm going to say effect 1 options. This puts all of the parameters for that effect up in that top yellow bar of the screen. We're going to move over here to direction. The direction is the first effect attribute, and it indicates how this effect plays back. Currently, my direction is option 0, which is shown as a caret or a greater than symbol, which is pointing to the right, and it implies that it's going from left to right. The second option is option 1, and it has the arrow pointing to the left, meaning it's going from right to left, or the highest numbered step to the lowest numbered step. You can see that I've changed that. The effect is now playing right to left. The third option has 2 arrows in it. And what it does is it plays first left to right, then when it gets to the end, it's going to go back and play right to left, and it'll just sit there in that cycle continually. That's the direction attribute. To the right of the direction attribute is the attack attribute. There are 5 different choices. The one that we see now has a underscore symbol and then a straight line. That indicates that each new step is going to go instantly from 0 to full, and the previous step is going to go instantly from full to 0 as you move through the queue. Option 1 is a little bit different. Option 1 fades up or ramps up as it's coming up and then instantly drops out. Option 2 is just the opposite of that. It instantly turns on and then fades down. Option 3 fades in and fades out. And option 4s and 5s are some advanced features that we're not going to talk about at this time. You can certainly find out more information about what they are and how they interact with the console by referencing the manual that ships with the product. So we've talked about the first 4 options, which are the most commonly used options that adjust the attack for the console. The next attribute indicates how many channels are active or which channels are active as it's playing back. Now before we do this, I'm going to go back here to my attack and set it to the instant on, instant off, because that's the easiest to follow. Right now, our playback mode is set to normal. That's where it just goes through each step and turns off the previous step and turns on the next step as it's moving through the effect. Invert is the first choice you see there, and instead of turning them on, it turns them off. Okay, so you'll notice as soon as I pick that attribute, all channels in the effect, 1 through 12, went to full, and you'll notice each one is turning off as it moves through that effect. So it's a much more subtler style chase or a subtler effect than when you only have one fixture turning on and the other fixture turning off. The next option, Build Plus, adds all of the channels to the effect one at a time till it gets to the end. Then they all shut off and then it repeats. Build Minus is just the opposite of that, where it turns them all on and then takes them away. Shadow, Random, and Chaos are 3 additional operating or playback modes, all of which interact a little bit differently with the effect and allow it to play back in different methods. So we've talked about how to create effects, how to assign effects to masters or playback effects, how to set up masters as rate controls, and how to change the attributes of an effect. That wraps up this section or this tutorial on the Piccolo and Piccolo Scan series of console, which covered recording effects.